Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 522. This is your guide to the geek side, and I am Todd Oxtra. I've got a mother visiting. I am worn out from Easter, a birthday. I'm car shopping. Man, oh man, I got stuff this week. Woo! My brain is boiled.
One question. Is it your mother who's visiting, or did you just pick one up at the airport?
A mother. I'm a mother lover, so I just picked up whatever mother came by.
You know what? We're not going to finish the rest of that.
Mother Cora Oxtra, visiting from Michigan, going to be 80 years old, which she tells me all the time. You know, I'm going to be 80 this fall. Like, yes.
My mother's birthday is this week on Wednesday, 77. So 77. We're gonna be. I think we might get out there this fall. So it's been too long. I know we're going to be out there this time next year. Because April loves cherry blossoms, wants to see him in DC on her birthday, which is April 4th. But I digress. Friends, welcome. We've got a great show. We're going to be talking some Star Wars, so I want you to get yourself ready now for the copious amounts of eye rolls that are going to come out off of Todd's little face. He's going to be like,
I've taped my eyes. I will have no rolling.
You know what? You should put on those big shades that really old people wear. You know, the kind that wrap around.
Or should I just get the glasses where it's the fake eyes are showing?
Oh, the Homer on jury duty.
Yes.
So we got that, and then we're going to be talking about the real buzz of the weekend, which is season 2 of The Last of Us. Oh my God. I was completely shocked because I was not, I did not.
I was wondering, and we'll talk about that because I was wondering about shocked. That, whether you went in cold and free.
Nope. You know, with as much as spoiler culture exists today, I think you have to find some ways to really, when it comes to the importance of steel yourself against it. But let's get in to talking about the fact that we do have some official new Patreons this week. This is very awesome. But we'll go through the process here over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. You can get exclusive shows, early shows, no ad shows, awesome Discord benefits. You try us out 7 days for free. Your first month can be 50% off. You can stay on board for as little as $2 a month after that. It's incredible. Lots of good stuff. Like our friends Derek Trevelyan, the figure dude, Francie, my wife's got a hair appointment coming up, and another Bad Movies podcast right around the corner, I'm sure. Luke Lore, Mr. Xbox Expansion Pass, my Uncle Tim, and then jumping into John Sedorf, the Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Kelly and Crayley, Brendan Myers, Corey and HD, Matthew Keel, my buddy Kurt Krug, who helps us out with those great interviews. We got another couple of exciting ones coming up that you're going to hear on our Patreon pretty quickly here. And our friend Tanya Lee, and then Todd, our new people. I'm going to let you do the honors. Run through that list one more time.
Absolutely. So we had our great giveaway sponsored by the Nice family. They took care of these 5 awesome people who entered and won. Chipotle Bear from the Nerd Chat, Famous Seamus from our own Discord, Cam the Movie Man, a guest on the Holocron Chronicles, Jay Newport 007, maybe the new James Bond, we don't know, but thank you for joining. And then Brian Osserman, a.k.a. the Prozac Man, a.k.a. Darth Prozac. I think we're going to bring that down to 1, so I think Darth Prozac, Charlie.
He keeps it mellow.
Darth Prozac will be where we go.
I think it's a little bit fitting. So, but back up to the top, Chipotle Bear. Now, is he the only one being bestowed this honor this time around?
Yes, this week we're going to do one a week. On every show, we'll do one a week. We'll get, if you are on the show, you get a power. On co-op mode, you get a power up. On, I believe, Code 47, you guys give them either a job or a race.
Star Trek race. Not a race. Yeah. When you say a race, it sounds really ominous.
A job or a race? I don't know.
A Star Trek alien designation, as it were, yes.
Okay, and then
great.
I think on Holocron, they get what a weird name,
a Star Trek type or something. I don't know.
Star Wars name.
I was going to say Mark better know because I don't.
random Star Wars generator name. Right?
It's that's what I did when I was picking my both of my OCs, my Jedi and my Rebel guy. I had to use the name generator. That's how I got a name. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yes, but with that, Chipotle Bear will be the first new Patreon to get a power vested from the dynamic duo. I will start. So Chipotle Bear, since I know you like to eat food, You're an educator, like play video games, and you're a very kind soul. So your power will be to break out of your mold, swear, be mean and angry, and then rewind the clock so no one ever knows you did it. So it's almost like you get to vent, be the worst person you ever want to be, and you get to erase it, essentially, which is great. Because a lot of people have said, I wish I could have deleted that email after I sent it. Or I wish I would have never said that thing about the friend and could have taken it back. Or I wish I would have not ate that food because it was bad. So we're going to give them the power to temporarily remove and delete.
Wish I wouldn't have made those death threats against that politician.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God. Well, I think this one's easy for Chipotle Bear because you put it right there in the name. I think that your superpower is you're able to mow down as much Chipotle more so than the average bear and have no ill effects. So really it dovetails a little bit into what Todd's talking about, but this one is very food specific. So you lumber into a Chipotle, maybe you smash through the door, you're a bear, everybody runs away, and then you have that buffet of ingredients there. You got a Chipotle Bear. That's what you're doing.
Charlie, you're the whitest person in the world. Chipotle? It's Chipotle. Come on, man.
Okay.
Jose is a strong Latin man.
Okay, so, Minneapolis, talking about how other people.
I took 4 years of Spanish, dude. Man, I'm all
I took
on
5. Boom. What do you think about
Congratulations.
that? Congratulations.
You took 5 years to be bad at it, so there you go.
Well, I took 5 years. That was 1 year in college, but it was 30 years ago, so I don't really know much. But anyway, all right. So next week, and then on all the other shows, we'll move on down the line. But Chipotle Bear, you can look forward to. You have to tune into the other shows to find out what all that other stuff is. So anyway, and to wrap up, we already mentioned the Nias family. Sean, Stella, and Henry are super duper Uber fans. We're very appreciative for you. Again, patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. Try us out for free. 50% off your first month, and then stay on board for as little as $2 a month. So much content to be had. And with that, we segue into now, Todd, I was telling you in the pre-roll, this is synergy. This cover represents synergy. Now, this is the New Warriors, and it's from, without even looking, 1992. Damn, I was going to say 91. Well, the good news is you would have been buying this in probably November of 91 because it's the cover dates. But on this cover, we have our regular squad drawn by Todd's favorite artist of all time, Mark Bagley. Right, Todd? I know you love him. The Bag Man. But in just a couple of days' time, and it'll be out a little bit closer to the end of May, I am interviewing a Marvel creator known as Danny Fingeroth. He was an editor, he was a writer, and he wrote
Charlie, he did not write this issue.
No, but the way, if you let me finish with your big flapping jaws, okay. I will explain to you, as I told you in the pre-roll, he was the writer of all 50 issues of Darkhawk and Rage, who was also a member of the Avengers. So I don't really know how. I think he was an original Avengers character. It was weird because he was this young kid who got toxic slime on him, and it turned him into an adult with superpowers. That's Rage's deal, and I have a figure on my shelf too, but I don't have Darkhawk, which now I think I'm going to have to start looking. But this was maybe the first time that the New Warriors added people, because they always had kind of this core group. So you had Nova, Speedball. We were talking about Speedball. He became Penance eventually. Do you remember when we were talking about that?
Yep.
And then Namorita or Namora. I think it's Namorita because she's like
Namorita. Yeah,
she's kind of like lady. She's like Skipper. And I don't recognize the character on the lower left with the crutches. Do you happen to know who that is?
Crutchy.
Oh my God, you're gonna get us canceled! Jesus Christ!
Is it? Silhouette?
No, Todd.
Is it Silhouette?
Remember the Patton Oswalt classic, Patty O'Cripley?
It would be Silhouette, Charlie. That's her name.
Well, what does she do? Don't say something about the crutches, I swear to God.
Silhouette. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. I'm trying to look for power, initiative, blood hunt, entry. Okay. She has dark force manipulation. She's able to manipulate the dark force for numerous purposes.
Could not be more vague.
So she's like Lady Darkhawk, but they call her Silhouette.
Well, and I was looking at Darkhawk today. I was getting my notes ready to talk to Danny Fingeroth later this week, and I'm reading about Darkhawk, and I'm like, I read his Marvel Universe wiki page, and I still don't know what he does. He flies. He's wearing a suit, but it's some kind of energy projection. I don't know. So the New Warriors. So this was kind of the first kind of stab at having like a Teen Titans kind of setup, like post like New Mutants or something like that. Do you think? I mean, how would you describe it?
Quite honestly, I never even knew when they came out. I saw their book on the shelf. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I had no interest in checking it out. I mean, you've got these people. It's not even like sidekicks in a lot of ways.
No, they're just a bunch of. Now, I think I know about them because they ended up drawn by Mark Bagley in an issue of Amazing Spider-Man, because Mark Bagley was the artist there for a very long time. And Speedball's first appearance was in an Amazing Spider-Man annual. I think it was the Evolutionary War. And the artist was Steve Ditko, which was really unusual because Ditko was kind of in exile by the 80s. You know what I mean? So, but rounding out the team was Marvel Boy, who I think was a version of Quasar. So he had the Negabands. And then Night Thrasher, the guy who had a skateboard. I had him as a figure once. I don't think I have him anymore. But yeah,
skateboard. Wow.
Yeah, literal.
How did I miss out on this wonderful team?
Skateboard. But yeah, I don't know that.
Why was Marvel Boy on trial? Nobody knows.
Probably hit and run. I don't know. DUI, something like that. Oh my God, I don't know. But
Charlie,
yes.
Here, I'll give you the rundown of Darkhawk's. Basically, the Darkhawk amulet. It transfers the consciousness of Chris, who is the kid, into Darkhawk's alien android, while at the same time switches the robotic place with that of his own body. And then basically he's got a lot of abilities, and apparently he's part of Shi'ar technology. The Shi'ar technology.
Okay. And you know who his inventor was? I know you're staring right at it. It's someone that you and I both know, Tom DeFalco.
Man, they were in it. They were doing everything.
He was Mr. Marvel back in those days. All right, well, we leave the New Warriors, but not without this tiny tidbit. You know how on Charlie's Angels they had was it Charlie who was on the other end of the little speaker?
Yep.
You know who was on the other end of the little speaker at the New Warriors headquarters? It was our own Madam Web. That's right. Even at age 92, she was calling the shots for these folks. But these days, she works for us down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine with all of the latest news and reviews. We're going to be talking some Star Wars, Todd. Get on those Homer Simpson glasses because we're going for it.
Now it's time for Madam Web's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Web. Madam Web, you survived Easter. Didn't have you didn't have money for Easter eggs, so you ended up robbing a Maul Easter bunny. Didn't go well. You found out he didn't actually have eggs. He had Metamucil in vials.
Those little plastic eggs.
Yeah, it didn't go well. So, Madam Web, sorry, you are still broke.
I picture the Maul Easter Bunny in Mallrats.
Yes, that's
what it was.
That will tie into something I'm going to talk about. Yes. So, Charlie,
my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Star Wars Celebration happened in Japan. It happened almost at night, every night. We got a lot of tidbits and things, but we truly never know when the show started and when it ended and what actually happened.
I can't lie to you, and this is bad. I know this is bad because I do a Star Wars show, but I turned these on, of which I did once or twice, and it was funny. We were talking about our friend John off camera. John and I are extremely intolerant of the overreacting Star Wars fan. So it's like I tuned in, and they're talking to Alan Tudyk.
You were watching the wrong thing.
Yeah, they're talking to Alan Tudyk for a few minutes, and this guy who's interviewing him is. He's not an actual journalist or an interviewer. He's like, well, you got to say the Star Wars thing. You got to say, I have a bad feeling about this. And people go, and I'm like, sorry, Star Wars fans. I know I people have had it in for me ever since I denounced the prequels over on our hot take segment. You remember all the vitriol I got on TikTok?
Yes, Charlie, when you talk to diehard Star Wars fans that love the prequel trilogy, surprise!
You know what? That's and again, I'll say it again. That's
they get
why
their revenge, Charlie, because they keep making prequel content. So you know what? They win.
They never. Well, something that I consider a win is there's a movie announced, but this is the first Star Wars movie that I can think of that has a named big star going into it. Unless I'm totally crazy. Was there a named big star going into any other Star Wars movie That wasn't a sequel to the previous one?
Unless it was like a side character, like it was like, oh, they'll also be in it, but they're not a lead.
No, but I'm talking about an actor who's in the lead of it, they're coming into Star Wars and they're an actor. Yeah. So, while I'm beating around the bush, what this really means is that one of the first big announcement they made is in 2027, we will see a film. You're not seeing me cross my fingers or roll my eyes, called Star Wars Starfighter, set 5 years after Rise of Skywalker and starring Mr. Notebook himself, Ryan Gosling.
Based on the video game from 2002.
No, I doubt very much it has anything to do with your video game.
Don't besmirch the Starfighter game.
Don't smirch. Is that a reverse besmirch? So this is interesting. And the director is Sean Levy. I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue what his other big movie have been.
He directed Deadpool and Wolverine. He directed Real Steel. He directed not the Fall Guy, the Odd Guy? The movie with Ryan Reynolds where he plays in a video game.
Ready Player Free Guy. Free Guy?
Yes, Free Guy. So this dude makes very successful, profitable films.
Yeah. And is that actually a picture of him here? Because I feel like I'm looking at the William Shatner mask. What's the deal with that? They just get a bad picture of him? Because his face is purple.
No, it's a weird he's got some very stylized
serious cheekbones.
Very, very handsome cheekbones.
That's fascinating. So anyway, we all know that Star Wars projects get announced every other week, and then we get a gotcha. But this feels like if they're going to be like it's a movie with one of the biggest stars in Hollywood and directed by, like you said, one of the biggest directors in Hollywood. Even though I feel bad, I kind of gaffed on all his accomplishments. This feels real in a lot of ways that some of the other announcements kind of didn't. That being said, as a hanger onto this, a couple different things before we move on. Kathleen Kennedy not going away. She did come right out and say it. And there are 6 other projects that are still alive, including, I think, the Tales of the Extremely Old Republic, the Rey movie, Taika Waititi's thing is still happening. So there was a real injection of things are still going on. It's just, are they taking their time, or can they just not decide on anything, or I don't know. But trying to keep it.
We've got a 2026 film. We've got a 2027 film.
Right.
That's all we've got. Farther out than that, I mean, it's kind of crazy. All we've gotten from both of these movies that we've seen is basically a logo, the name of the film, and some fanfare music.
Right.
But I know they did show footage of Mandalorian Grogu.
Yes, they showed
the celebration.
A great scene, which I can describe to you because, of course, I watched somebody's bootleg.
Should we act it out?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. So, okay, scene, dark, stormtroopers walking around. It's the back of an AT-ST or whatever, and the door opens. Pew, pew, pew. Mando shooting, and he picks a guy up and he throws him, and he throws a knife, and he does this and he does that. There, it's been acted out. It looked very exciting. It's kind of what you really want out of Mando.
Well, you saw it or you read it? I didn't see it.
No,
Did they release footage?
I saw it.
The footage is out there?
They didn't release footage, but somebody shot it on their phone.
Someone's phone released the footage.
It was a bootleg. But there was also a photo of Mando without his helmet on, meaning it was the one day Pedro Pascal actually had to be on set because he's too busy.
Very true.
He's too busy.
Exactly. He only does the voice. He only does the voice unless he's got his helmet off. And then you know what? He could probably just get a green screen like I do in the podcast. Take off his helmet. And say, you done? Okay, boom. I'm going back to make something.
Takes his helmet off, and he's Homer Simpson wearing those glasses. So that was super exciting. Jazzed about that. Good. Starfighter to me implies that it's going to have to do with starcraft like the X-Wing, that's my Star Wars. That's my Star Wars.
Starfighting Star Wars?
I know, instead of just the talking wars. All right, so that's that. Todd, other thoughts before we move on to the next thing?
Yes, I'm very excited that we are actually getting a post, sequel trilogy project, which is very cool. It's always good to go forward rather than always go back, which is cool. I like Ryan Gosling a lot, man. That guy he just oozes amazing guy. He's funny. He is hilarious. I mean, he could have played Han Solo because he's got a lot of the charm, but him being a star jock, pilot, star jockey,
Yeah.
a star jockey, which is going to be great. We don't know what he's going to be doing, but I hope this all comes together. Sean Levy knows how to. If he can make a Wolverine Deadpool and make that happen, how hard can a Star Wars movie be to make? And it can't be harder than trying to resurrect the Fox universe and make a movie with it.
And to make it as fun as it. Now, did he do the other Deadpool films as well? Is that all him?
No.
Okay, all right.
I forgot who did the first one. Maybe he did the sequel, but not the first one.
Yeah, that's what was throwing me off. I just kind of get lost. All right, well, we're going to switch gears over to, and I'm just going to let Todd make fun of this for like 5 minutes. But Todd, what's the next project that's coming up?
This actually made me laugh because I'm like, holy cow. So, it's hard to leave. It's hard to miss the prequel saga if you never leave them. Well, you know what? They're not done with us yet. So we are getting another animated project. It's going to be titled Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. Charlie, they missed out. They could have made my teen sex romp and called it Maul Rats. They didn't. So yeah, and Sam Witwer is returning to voice the favorite Sith survivor, and yes, he's a survivor. Cue the Destiny Child song. It is amazing that this man has 85 lives, and
somehow Maul returned.
Yeah, here's the official setup. After the Clone Wars, Maul plots to rebuild his criminal syndicate on a planet untouched by the Empire. In this new series set after the events of the final season of the Clone Wars, Maul rises again to lead the underworld factions. Witwer, who's voiced Maul across the various projects. He was also in the Star Wars Force Unleashed, played a really cool character there. He's dusting himself off a bit, Witwer said. He learned some different things about his character. He's got some different traits that you wouldn't necessarily think he has that make perfect sense what he's been through. Fortunately, I can't tell you too much, but what I can say is Sam Witwer's involvement in the show has been pristine. Nobody says, oh, he was horrible to work with when he's on stage right next to us.
Yeah, most people say that about Donald Trump, but we don't need to get into that.
So Charlie, is this like a missed... and they do say it's a surprise appearance in the solo Star Wars story. So would it make sense to just do that like in that era?
Here's kind of my misgivings. And again, I know I'm playing with fire. I know that a lot of the Star Wars community probably hates my guts, and that's okay because I actually had somebody in that comment call me a younger boomer, which is hilarious. No, I'm
a younger boomer?
No, like I'm like an elder millennial. So it's exactly.
A pre-boomer. Yeah, you're a pre-boomer.
Yeah, pre-boomer.
Yeah.
I'm a pre. Yeah, exactly.
Which I'd be boomer.
Yeah, if I was born in the 60s, but I wasn't. I was born at the end of Gen X. So here's the deal. This just really, we're kind of treading on the same ground here. Clone War. What happened after the Clone Wars was Bad Batch. And Todd, even though you didn't watch it, I really enjoyed it. I know it's not your jam. Clone Wars, you hate it. I get it. That's cool. We don't need to talk about it. But then that went into, Rebels kind of leaped over the portions of Solo. He appeared in that. I just feel like this is going to be like, all right, now I'm going to build a criminal empire, and like it's going to somehow end in what you saw in Solo, because the part of him in Solo was just worthless fan service. It did not contribute anything to that story, which is why,
like a Yoda showing up at the end of The Acolyte.
Exactly. It's just, I hated it because, and again, my biggest problem was, if someone had never seen anything after Maul got cut in half at the end of episode 1, they would be like, wow, that guy looks like Darth Maul, but it can't be him because he's dead. Which he wouldn't. And then, he went on, and then eventually Obi-Wan kills him on Tatooine at the end of Rebels, right before he kills Luke, blah, blah, blah. So I can say, and, and I'm sure I'll have to talk about this again with Mark, and I'll probably say the same thing. Just move. I can't believe I'm in Todd's camp. Just move on. Just move on. It doesn't have, every single day of every single second doesn't have to be filled in this 19-year gap between the end of the prequels and the classic trilogy. It doesn't have to be done. So just move on. I love the Starfighter time period. I love, even though it's an in-betweener, I love the Mando time period. That's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, but it's still very fertile ground because it's this 30-year window, where a lot of different shit can happen. But it's not that way here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just feels.
there's
It feels inconsequential. It doesn't feel like the stakes are super low because what's going to go on?
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
gonna
Star Wars
stick?
has been around 50 years now, right?
Yep,
Close to 50 years.
yeah,
And at this point,
48 years, yeah.
it's like we've spent a ridiculous amount of time in this era compared to everything else we've gotten. And it feels like there's a cost of business called cost of opportunity. So basically, you can invest in something, but you may be missing on an opportunity elsewhere. And I just
Right.
feel like when they take resources away from something new and different and do in the same ground, I feel like their opportunity to expand a fan base or grow it in a different way, or maybe bring back people that have that may not be interested in a certain era. I feel like they continue going down that path. And
Yeah.
Darth Maul doesn't seem like a light and airy character. He seems like more of the standard, like, dark guy. He's going to kill people. He's going to do crimes and things like that. I'm like, who is that really for, except for the audience that already likes it? And it's like, you're just giving them more of that versus saying, what's for Charlie? What's for Todd? What's for my son? Maybe who's not that into Star Wars anymore. It could be for me. That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's a very, and then when you look what they're doing in animation, they don't do anything else really. They do Visions in this. And it's like, guys, branch out, do something else. Give me the OT. I know we keep saying this. Give me the original trilogy characters in animation post Jedi. Do something fun. Do Shadows of the Empire in animation. Make me happy.
Yeah.
Make us all happy.
Well, and if they're going to do something even post Return of the Jedi, recast those original 3 characters. It's fertile ground. Do it. They can be a part of taking Thrawn down. I would like to see that.
Well, even in animation, just bring in voice actors and do it in animation. Right. You know, if you don't want to go after live action, do animation. It's cheaper. It's faster.
Yeah. And it's
easy to do.
You can always explain it away as a what if. Exactly. So, all right, let's burn through these last couple of things.
Sure.
Todd, did you see the Rebuild the Galaxy Lego Star Wars thing that gave us Darth Jar Jar last year? Does that ring a bell?
I never did. I've heard might have been okay. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, there's going to be a sequel, which also might be okay. We finally find out who Sigourney Weaver is playing in Mando and Grogu. Like I said, there was a bootleg clip. It's probably still out there somewhere. I think, you know what? Spend 5 minutes looking for it. You'll be glad you did if you find it. But she is going to be and I don't know that she's an X-Wing pilot per se, but she's going to be a pilot because lots of people wear that orange jumpsuit, but there's other colored jumpsuits, and I don't know if they decided that. Like Zeb, you see Zeb, who is from Rebels, he's in a big blue jumpsuit. I don't know. I should do some research. But anyway, there's a photo of her wearing that great orange jumpsuit, of which I have one myself. And so that really fires me up. And she's sitting next to droids because there's nothing in Star Wars without droids. So that's
Charlie,
cool.
missed a story.
No, well, I skimmed.
Ahsoka season 2 updates.
Yes, yeah, confirming Rory McCann replacing the late Ray Stevenson as Baylan Skoll, the great. We knew about this already. They were friends in real life, so that's awesome. Admiral Akbar, I feel like we saw him in season 1 in that council scene. Was he in there?
Sure,
with the one jerk ass senator guy, and Hayden Christensen back. Which
did
you know
he say
what?
after it was done? He said, "It's a wrap." No.
They
can't do that joke anymore, can you?
They had to cut it for time. And Hayden Christensen back as Force Ghost Anakin, which, you know what? I think he did really well. It was redemptive. It was redemptive to see him be a part of stuff.
He's only been redeemed 18 times, right?
I meant I was referring to the actor in the role because I think he contributed more not being under George Lucas's direction.
But he's coming back again.
And again, it's fan servicey, but does it service the story? That's the real question. So I would imagine.
How can we miss you if you never go away? As I always say.
This is Admiral Akbar will be back, and he will be going head to head against Great Admiral Thrawn like a fist fight because he's got those big lobster claws.
I would like him to see him do more than just stand and say something, because that's essentially his whole Star Wars career.
Yeah, because the Mon Calamari. Yeah, you've never seen them do any. I mean, they swim.
Like, I haven't seen him sit or walk.
Well, he's sitting right there.
Does he have tendrils?
They have like claw hands. If you, I have a figure of him. He has big claw hands.
Oh, so he's Dr. Zoidberg.
Why not?
Exactly. He just eats bad food and smells.
Oh my god! Admiral Zoidberg, make that the name of the episode.
Yep.
So anyway, I think that's cool. You're right. If they actually make him do something, I'm totally into it.
Sure. Why not?
Talked about Sigourney Weaver. Excited about that. That clip is probably still out there. Filoni took the stage and said there was a plan.
Wait, was he wearing a cowboy hat?
You know what? That was one of the things I tuned into. I think he wasn't. Maybe he's wearing a baseball cap. I don't know. Yes, he has said, it says, while Marvel is scaling back and DC is rebooting, Star Wars has been in a strange cinematic limbo since Rise of Skywalker hit theaters, to which the response was, for me, it's all about the story and the talent. Who are the people leading these and how Lucasfilm can help each creative be a bit unique, which is kind of the opposite of what Kathleen Kennedy does. Creative
sounds like filler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So he says there's a plan, there's stuff happening, and as I mentioned, James Mangold, that's the pre-origin, like Origin of the Jedi,
the origin of the Jedi. Yep.
Yeah. The Rey Jedi story is Charmin Obaid Chinoy. And Filoni's feature will be set in the New Republic era, will tie together Mando, Ahsoka, and the other shows of that time. Taika is happening. Simon Kinberg is still happening. So things are in motion, but he's the Wizard of Oz, I guess.
Well, he's the Star Wars creative CEO, I think now. That's his official role.
Yep.
Like, he's the guy that he does the shots. He's the he's the Dave. Well, I don't know if there's an equivalent of creative CEO, but that would be like Jim Lee at DC for the comics, and it would be James Gunn,
creative CCO,
Chief Creative Officer. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, we'll see what happens.
And we will. And April and I have a tentative plan, and this is more about where it is as opposed to this event. To be in Los Angeles in 2027, and this is her birthday week. She said she wanted to go for the next Star Wars celebration. But anyway, I'm more excited to go to LA. But that's where the next one will be, and that will coincide with the 50th anniversary of the franchise and with the release of the Starfighter film we were just talking about. So that will be a very exciting time for Star Wars. So that will be a big deal. All I have to do is I got to take big earmuffs like this one so I don't hear the other people hooting and hollering. And
Charlie, you're going to be hanging out with 110,000 people. You'll love it. Armpit to armpit of smelly people wearing lots of robes in LA. You will love it.
It'll be very exciting. So anyway, that's a wrap on Star Wars Celebration in Japan. Todd, you think they missed anything? Was there anything that you'd have been like, gosh, I wish they would have done this or that or whatever?
I still think it's silly that a lot of stuff doesn't get released. They're in Japan. How many people can go? Just show us all the stuff. Is it really that we're going to overreact to something that's not looking finished? We will anyways when we see the trailer. Just show us.
Well, it's like I said, the stuff ends up out there anyway. So yeah, just let it go.
On somebody's phone that always looks great.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It got me to seeing it. But all right, what do you got? You sprung this one on me. I had no idea. But there's something new about the X-Files. What's going on?
So I didn't know much about this either. So we know the X-Files has been, not rebooted, but it has been reincarnated several times with the main cast. And now we're hearing that Ryan Coogler is actually going to be an EP of a new take on the X-Files, the reboot / spinoff. So it will be, a fresh start, maybe taking pieces of it for inspiration, but this will not be pairing up the people we all know. So apparently, Chris Carter met with Ryan Coogler along with Gillian Anderson to talk about kind of like, hey, what, and because he wanted to learn more about like, hey, what do you feel is critical about the X-Files? I love the series, but I want to hear it from, some of the OGs. Yeah. And it's kind of cool that Coogler finds this a property worth going after. The dude is very successful. He's made rebooted Creed. He has been tied into Black Panther. He's done some side projects. And I'm really impressed with what he's done. So the fact that they're going all in with him, a high-end talent that can really see, just taking something from the past, like we said, took Rocky and brought it up to a modern age with a different take.
Right. Yeah, new character, and the new character became the the focus of it. Yeah. So those Creed movies were great. So Gillian Anderson, anything, but it's funny you say, oh, it's a new take. You have two of the three people that were the big parts of it. So Duchovny, I've heard Duchovny is quite famously kind of difficult to get along with. So maybe they asked him to be a part of it. And he said no.
After we saw him in that one project, what was it? The Pet Cemetery
I thought that was okay. I thought it was okay,
but not up to his standard of projects he normally works in. But if you think about this, could there be a role with some of the characters? Yes. Do I think there could be some, this could be a spiritual like sequel? Yes.
Yeah,
but
same universe.
It's a great premise that just seems evergreen, but you do need compelling stars and stories to really make it work. Let's not have another black. Was it the black?
It's the black goo on the prehistoric goo in Texas.
Yeah.
For the movie.
Let's do something different.
Texas tea.
Yeah. I did not love the alien abduction part of X-Files. I like the other stuff better, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, good. Well, if that is being discussed, it's at least 2-3 years away.
And that's Fox, so that is Disney.
And it would be on,
correct? No,
like Fox. Gotcha. All right. Well, something that is actually not Disney owned, but I would say that I was pissed off, but that would be stating the obvious. Strange New World season 3 has been in the can for a long time, and the season 2 wrapped up at the end of summer 2023. So now on our way to 2 years, 18 months long. And last fall, we got an extended clip. We got a nice trailer a couple of weeks back, which Todd and I talked about. And then Peter and I, of course, talked about more so on Code 47. Now we have a premiere date where it'll be at a film festival in June. And that's all we got. That the first episode will be shown.
Charlie, it's coming in August. It's coming in August. I guarantee you it's coming in August.
And that led me right back to playing with our schedule on Code 47. I'm moving it up. I'm moving it down. But at the Tribeca Film Festival on June 14th. Tribeca, of course, being a part of the island of Manhattan, so that's New York City. They will be showing this first episode in attendance with Anson Mount, Ethan Peck, Celia Rose Gooding, Carol Kane, and EP, Alex Kurtzman, Akiva Goldsman, and Henry Alonzo Myers. I can't believe my brand new best personal friend Jonathan Frakes will not be in attendance. I bet he'll be there. He's beloved by all these Star Trek folks.
Oh, sure.
Because he's a director and he's the best they've got.
Apparently, Jeannie Francis probably had an event that's taking him away from it, Charlie.
I don't. And he speaks very fondly for, as I'm sure you heard in our interview, but I don't know that she still. I don't know. I'm not sure what she does anymore. I don't know if she still shows up and stuff from time to time. I'm curious.
I'm sure Jeannie has something going on.
I'm sure. But anyway, yes. This, and I pulled this from Trek Movie, which is where I get most of the Trek news that we talk about over on Code 47. Paramount, of course, yet to confirm when the series will debut, but this says it's a good bet. It will be soon after the New York event, possibly even the following Thursday, June 19. So naturally, that led me to go back and start playing with my schedule. And you know what? I don't like June 19. I have something else planned for the show at that time.
You, Charlie.
Keep moving it. Move it forward. I would. And this says, Todd, it probably won't be as late as August. So they're challenging you. They're challenging you.
That's okay. That's okay. Summer's a weird time to put out shows. There's a lack. Some people are busy. I don't know. Anytime's a good time to watch a Star Trek show. But I will ask this question. We typically, back in the day, you would get 24 episodes in 1 year,
26.
Every year, right?
Yeah, 26.
Right? And now we're like, we can't even get 9 episodes out within a year, right?
We can't get 10 out every 2 years. Now, granted, the strike came along, and we know we talked about the strike every week and how necessary it was. That's okay, but this just dangling it in front of us. It's like I know it's the only thing they've got because they wrapped up Discovery, they wrapped up Lower Decks. When Frakes was on with us, he did mention that the first season of Starfleet Academy is in the can. They were doing final analysis and probably reshoots to get it out.
Can or production still needs to happen on it? Like
done, filmed.
Oh, okay.
Here, you didn't see me doing the little camera.
So maybe this is their goal to say we don't want to have huge gaps again. So we want to make sure when we've got something dropping, we're going to have something ready to go.
Right.
I am curious what their approach will be on how they do this because, it's frustrating when a show goes away. It's got some momentum, then it's like you don't know when it's coming back. So,
well, and as you know, season 2 ended on a massive cliffhanger, life and death situation, and again, that was now 18 months ago. So, yeah, it's a drag. It is a drag. But anyway, very excited to have it come back. Starfleet Academy will definitely be in 2026, which is fine because, yeah, you're right. Got to kind of stretch it out. But that teaser trailer that we saw several weeks ago looks like so much fun. And so very fired up. I just don't want another musical. Todd
Charlie,
and I did not react well to that musical.
Just gives you more time to watch a rewatch of Section whatever it was called.
I will never,
I remember what it was called.
ever. It is banned from us ever talking about it again on the show. It doesn't exist.
It's already left my brain. I don't remember what it's called. Section something.
Section 27. There you go.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Well, that takes us out of the news. Todd, how did you beat me there? It was like you were always there. You're at the Geek Easy right now, but I'm not. I'm here. So I got to grab an Uber. It's pulling up in my driveway because I'm at home in my home studio. It's a beautiful car, but he plays the AM radio, which is so weird to me because it's always the same station. It's Todd's Yacht Rock, and it only has one commercial, and it sounds just like this.
Hey, Secret Friends Unite, let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. Provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, go to Zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy. Cover bands play and drinks are poured, and we are getting our nerd on this week. Kind of a mixed bag of things, but one of the things that's in a bag is a Bondsman hit. And we've got a new series on Prime called The Bondsman. This stars Kevin Bacon, and he's kind of embracing his Tremors past, where he did like a goofy, over-the-top action film with Fred Dryer. They took on graboids, but in this instance, he's a kind of a dirtbag bounty hunter.
Right,
gets killed on a job.
I was like, yikes! They went
right to it. Yeah,
first couple of minutes. Yeah. I have a question. Tell me if I'm wrong. Is this maybe one of the few television things he's ever really done? Because he was in the Guardians thing, which was a short. I'm trying to think, and it's funny because something I'm going to talk about when we get down to my stuff might actually answer this question. But I don't feel like I've ever seen him in anything else that was like a television series. Certainly not the star of it. But
Good question, because ultimately, he's from an era where TV was not something
TV
that
and
most
film
actors did, and now
separate,
because Kevin Bacon is where he is, he didn't need to do that. Man, what is this this page is really bad because like Kevin Bacon's credit apparently on Wikipedia only goes to 2013.
Oh,
what is this nonsense?
You just do a drop down. You can keep going.
Oh no, I'm just looking for anything like 2010s, and that's where it stops. Like,
okay,
he did stuff after 2010, so this is a bad bad website, anyways. But I don't think he's done much on TV. But obviously now the tone on TV is a golden age. Yeah. It's a great place to get really good scripts. But yeah, for him to do something that quite honestly, I would say is, B tier, goofy, supernatural,
it's fun.
Crime of the week, fun stuff doesn't happen. I think he enjoys this again, and he is. He's kind of a ne'er-do-well dad. His wife is left
Jennifer
him
Nettles
for another dude.
Yes, Jennifer Nettles.
She's a country singing gal and at a club, and her boyfriend's a weird Boston dude, and it's just weird. And we find out. I mean, this whole episode 1 is all set up and everything, and I'm digging this. It feels like Supernatural with Kevin Bacon just taking on for the Winchester boys. I dig it.
It was fun. I enjoyed. I think we've watched 3, but like everything, you get lost in the Myra shows. Let's try. Like I do everything I can not to pick up another show because there's just too damn many of them.
If you can do that and just finish it out and then do it, I'm in the boat where I I watch one episode, so I'm gonna get distracted and watch something else.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the modern era with seasons of 10 shows, because you can actually finish something and then move on to something else and not be like,
as long as it's not dropped all day one, because then you're like, okay, what else dropped day one? I like this show better.
I think as time goes by, a lot more of that is going away, which is a good thing. Yeah, so I totally agree. So okay,
I think this is I think this dropped all in 1 week on Prime, which is weird.
Okay, yeah, that's weird for them because they will do like a 3 episode drop, and then like with Reacher they do like 3 and then they'll do the other 6 or the other 6 or 7 they'll drop week by week. What does it say?
I don't. And let's see. I'm just looking up the episodes right now. Yeah, everything dropped on. It's got 8 episodes, all dropped on April 3rd. So it's weird. It's done. Yeah, okay. And it is weird because it seems like with a star like that, you want people to find the show, and tune in, and just have a good time. Yeah, because what's the benefit of putting it all out there week 1 and when something else will distract you from it? Don't know.
Is the question is like, well, it's Prime, they don't really have to care because it's Amazon, but that it really defeats the purpose because people,
especially, they're trying to cut back on their spending. So it seems like, well, then maybe you should stretch out your things so you have more headliners that aren't just getting displaced by the next headliner. But you know what?
They want more minutes. So
they want to spend another $300 million on a bad movie starring The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, probably.
You better believe, but not Ryan Gosling, because we love him.
No. Well, that leads us into the show that we are going to wrap up.
Yep, and got a big complaint from our own Kurt Krug about this one. But I said, Kurt, you got to think about it because it's television. He says, "Oh, what a letdown! They just set it up." I'm like, they absolutely set it up because we know there's going to be a season 2. They've got to. They got to give you a hook. And they did.
So I can't say there'll be spoilers when we talk about this in the next 5 minutes, but we are going to talk about Daredevil Born Again. Its season is over. It will be back next year with another 9 episodes. So be prepared. If you don't want to get spoiled, just skip ahead 5 minutes. So
yes,
you've been warned. So Daredevil Born Again season 1. Man, oh man, if you thought Disney wasn't going to put something on that is horrific and horrible and made you feel...
This contained the most shocking thing I feel like I've ever seen in any television show.
Really? Okay.
I thought so, and that's probably colored by the fact that it's Disney and colored by the fact that it's Marvel. But
Charlie, I've seen Preacher. Some really horrible things happen on that show, and this puts it all to shame. So, but yes, for a Disney Plus show,
I was absolutely blown away by the fact that the Kingpin, in terminating,
we don't have to describe it,
somebody in his way, treated somebody's head like a peanut, and it was seen fully.
Yes. Yikes. And I didn't know if they were going to show it, and they did. So,
and they didn't need to
about that.
But they sure did. But this was, Matt is great. He can take all kinds of shots and stabs, and he can still fight, which he did. We got a very triumphant return of John Bernthal, who I hope to meet next month at Motor City Comic Con.
Very short-lived, though. Very short-lived. Didn't
did.
last very long.
Well, he's not. Yeah, I'm not going to say if he's alive or dead, but I mean, come on. And there was, if you haven't watched this, but you probably have, because we're going spoilers. There is a post mid credits that it happens to involve the Punisher, so don't count him out. Don't count him out just yet. But yeah, we had a delightfully graphic fight scene within Matt Murdock's apartment, where because the Karen reappears on the scene, she brings the Punisher in. They're still close. Do we have a love triangle going on? I don't know. I don't know that I'd want to be in a love triangle with the Punisher. I don't know about you. I don't know that I want to be the third.
Not a stable guy who's now living in a janitor's closet beneath a building. But I mean, this whole series is kind of always leading me down the path of what are most criminal geniuses always going after. A real estate deal or something, because that's what this is all has come down to. Yeah, essentially, Kingpin, he does show his true colors. He essentially has gone after to be the mayor to cut through red tape and take over a port so he can essentially, apparently this port is now it's like the DMZ where he can do anything in this port because of a law from 1855.
It was beautiful.
Can bring money, drugs or whatever.
It was the Port of Tortuga. It was like Pirates of the Caribbean, Red Hook, New Jersey or New York. So then at the end of it, Karen and Daredevil said, well, we're going to have to put together a squad to really take him down. And a lot of long, meaningful glances as the camera pulls out. Daredevil's girlfriend of the season, who's very hot, by the way, goes to work for the Kingpin, but as the mayor. So she's not on his side, but he's got Karen back. The Punisher's locked up, but he's probably not going to stay that way. Hint, hint. And then fade to black. So they've teed it up where it's got great momentum, just like Strange New Worlds did when they wrapped up their second season. But at least we know that this, because images keep getting leaked of season 2 in production, we know that it's happening. And
they already filmed it. They already completed it. They
so it's like done. It's in
together. And that's why this is coming out next year, a year apart, whereas we're not getting like the 2-year gap, which is great.
Yeah.
From what I heard, Disney wants to do that going forward.
It's like Wicked. Film things back to back. Do it like a movie, or more than a movie, really.
Maybe. And one of the things that has me interested in see where this is going to go is essentially with 9 more episodes to go to tell the story. You have Kingpin fully more villainous than ever.
Oh my God.
And Vanessa all in being villainous.
So bad.
And Matt is finally retaking where he's going to be and what his role will be. But the interesting part will be, Charlie, are we going to get Defenders Part 2? Or will we truly get in some other non-Defenders characters that will show up from the MCU now that everything is fully versed? Do we get I'm trying to think of other characters that have showed up that have not been fully used. That
Werewolf by Night. The Man Thing.
Oh, it makes total sense. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Wait, hold on.
Rider.
I've got it. Just drill it right back. We're going to take the earlier in this episode, the New Warriors. Night Thrasher on his skateboard. Darkhawk. Rage would be a great one. Got a big old linebacker looking kind of dude in a leather vest with a luchadora mask. Cash the check. Send it to me.
Well, the funny part is because we did have a crossover with Kamala Khan's dad. I'm like, well, you're not going to bring in Miss Marvel to this bloodbath.
It's a little dark. It's a little
That's
dark.
What I'm saying. It's such a weird miss of who could help out.
Kate Bishop is already tied in because her almost one stepfather is locked up in the dungeon where Punisher ends up at.
So I'm assuming, yes. So we'll probably get the swordsman involved somehow because he was shown to be a vigilante, and then maybe we do get, Luke
Bishop.
Cage. What the hell is he? What's Luke Cage doing?
He's running. He's running his club up in Harlem. But and hints of Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter coming back, which would be great. I'd be fine. Just leave Danny Rand out of it. We don't need the Kmart Tony Stark to come back, and
No, we don't need J.R. Ewing of the MCU from the soap opera that it was or Melrose Place. We don't need that.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Oh,
and we
you
can
know
just
what?
say, Iron Fist went off back to Kunlun.
I got it, but they'd have to recast it. But Moon Knight would be great. But they're not going to get Oscar Isaac, I don't think. But Moon Knight fought at at the nighttime in his white outfit. But that was his deal.
Where was Moon Knight from?
He was I can't remember where he was. He was a West Coast Avenger for a while, but I can't remember where he originally.
In England or something?
Egypt. Yeah, it was Egypt because
But why would he just show up in New York out of the blue? That's the thing. Who is a New Yorker that should show up?
Spider-Man. Excuse me, they can't do that. But
that'll be great. Bring in Spider-Man. How about Agent Venom? I don't know. Bring in who's a lower tier Spider-Man? Well, you can't even bring in a Spider-Man character.
Which is funny
what's Stilt-Man up to? Or what's Machine Man up to? Bring them in too.
Or the Leapfrog.
Oh yeah, bring him too. Yeah.
Speedball.
I'm just trying to think of who's been introduced that just hasn't been used. And it's throw him in too.
Yeah, so they dredged something up from the backwoods of the previous series.
Anyway, Echo. Bring in Echo. There you go. She could kick some ass and have some fun. And
she already hates Kingpin. She tried to shoot him in the eyeball. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll lay odds on that. All right. Well, we will find out this time next year. All right. Let me go through a couple of quick crunches. Very interesting movie on Max right now, and this is a direct to Max film, if I'm not mistaken. Samantha Morton is the star. She was Alpha on The Walking Dead. I don't know, did you watch Walking Dead at the end? Did you? No, doesn't ring a bell.
Charlie, I think the last time I watched was the season after what's his name died or left, and then that's it.
Oh, okay.
So
I can't
Alpha, I think maybe.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, she is living in 2070. This woman's living in 2073, so it's only a few decades from now, where the world is a trash-filled wasteland, whatever it is. And so you're expecting, all right, well, I think April and I tuned in because it's a post-apocalyptic story, which is something that we enjoy. But this movie, 3/4 of it is a historical documentary showing you with real footage how this world came to be found, how it became this police state. Everybody's got to have an ID because Samantha Morton's character shows up as someone with no ID, and how she's treated and imprisoned. But all of it is footage about global warming and about, and let me tell you, Donald Trump appeared several times in this footage because
they used some real footage to kind of enhance.
It was pretty much all real, honest to God, National Geographic stuff. So it was. Okay. I've never seen anything like it. It was very interesting. So I'd recommend it. I don't want to talk too much more about it, but I would say go check it out. So yeah, that's over on Max. I have a 1-2 punch here. Every once in a while, I'll talk about a YouTube channel I like. I mean, I bought a T-shirt for one. It was fun. I was going through my T-shirts. I'm like, I haven't worn that one in a while. But I have a new YouTube channel I love called Robert's Retro Rewind, which is we watch a lot of hey, Gen X. You remember when?
You love that stuff, back, Charlie. You love look back.
But Todd, this one is really very interesting, and I sent you a clip of one. Did you watch the clip that I sent you?
No.
I don't want to spoil it for you, but believe me when I say you need to go watch this 30-second clip. But it's in our Signal chat.
I don't know. I may not have 30 seconds available in my life when I'm sitting on the toilet.
It's in our Signal chat along with the war plans. But this guy's got a bit called short-lived TV shows. And he takes a TV season and he's managed to find clips. He projects it on a 13-inch Sony TV, and you see the open of the show. And it shows that 90% of them you've never heard of, and it's hilarious. And he ends each one of them with a title card that says how long they ran. There's some that were 6 episodes produced, 4 aired, and it'll give you a little blurb about them. But there's so many. Gina Davis had a sitcom that lasted 3 episodes in 1986, which that was something I had heard of. This is really fascinating. And I've watched, they're an hour long each. So yeah, it's a bit of it, but you put it on the background, whatever it is. But he did one going back from the 60s, which I won't touch, but I watched 3 or 4 of them from the early 80s. Absolutely fascinating. Robert's Retro Rewind. It was very fun.
I have a fun fact. Did you know Jack Black played a character in the Neverending Story 3?
I absolutely did. I absolutely did know that. Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Ooh, kudos.
I know many
Cadoos.
Cadoos. And all right, so back to the latest installment of Late for the Party, a show that actually has been harassing me about for years. But right now, April and I cannot turn off. We watch it day and night. We were watching one before we came down here. We'll finish it when we get done. For All Mankind on Apple TV Plus. 1/3 of the creative team is Mr. Ron Moore, who is a personal storytelling hero of mine. History diverges in July of 1969 when the Russians land on the moon instead of the United States. And there are 4 seasons. We are at the end of season 3. The 5th season is being produced or could be done, will be on. But every season takes a 10-year jump where you're following a lot of the same characters. You know, young characters grow up to be adults. Todd, how much of it have you seen?
1 episode.
I was kind of stuck in the same place because I was like, oh, we watched 1 episode, but I got to get back to Severance. And I'm like, Severance is okay, but I think I'll try this Ron Moore show out again. And we just got hooked. Got sucked in.
Assuming it's a little more straightforward. And I do hear there is an episode in this series that is amazing. It's like people said it's one of the best hours of television ever. Can't remember which episode it was.
You know what? Because you couldn't pick it out because this is a series full of those moments.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'll look it up because I know they said there was one specific episode.
Absolutely.
Like, this is the episode. So
absolutely.
Good
just
to know.
Biting your nails moments, you know, astronauts hanging off the side of a space capsule trying to save another astronaut. Or
don't they go into really going into like women became a big part of this?
Right away.
The astronaut. Yeah.
And it was in episode 4 or 5. It was Nixon's astronauts. And and it was because of the space race that the Vietnam War ended 5 years early, you know, and
that seems like a good idea.
Absolutely.
Space instead of more Vietnam War.
Exactly. And through some twist of fate, John Lennon was never assassinated. So that's a
wow. All these good things happen if the Russians go to space first, Charlie. Who'd have thought?
I know. Reagan did his 2 terms starting in the 1970s. We never had Jimmy Carter or Gerald Ford.
What? What's Michigan gonna do without their only?
We still have Motown. I assume that history didn't erase that. But anyway, Apple
and Kid
TV
Rock never became a rocker. The ICP, they became Peace Corps volunteers. It just keeps going.
That's what happens in season 5. Kid Rock's president. I hope not.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. But anyway, so Todd, you've said it very accurately more than once. Apple TV Plus, they don't produce a lot, but what they do produce is fantastic. And
quality over quantity.
Very good stuff. So I put it to you. Go watch some more of it. You'll be glad that you did.
I'll have to see if I still have a subscription. It's the one I cancel, and I'm like, I'll come back for this show.
Well, you'll be green at the gills with envy. April got one that was $3 a month for like 3 months.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You got to get it at the right time. You got to make sure you're canceled for like a month. Yeah. And I know our friend Brian is a huge fan of a lot of the shows on Apple TV Plus because he's not overwhelmed by it. There's not a lot of buttons to push. There's not a lot of technology involved.
It was funny because we signed up for it for like get a week for free on Prime, but then I had to go through Prime. But my remote has an Apple TV Plus button, so we let that lapse, and then we got this new deal all you have to do is hit the button.
Exactly.
It's totally worth it.
Put a reminder on your phone.
Put a reminder on your phone. All right, well, that wraps it up. We are out of the Geek Easy. Todd, I have my phone out. My Air Qantas app is open. I am ordering us up our tickets to Land Down Under, where Hologram Tina and the mutants are waiting to give us counseling to get through the first 2 episodes of season 2 of T-Lou, The Last of Us. Let's do it.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. The mutants have been gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week we are talking about The Last of Us Season 2 after its first 2 episodes have debuted.
Hold on. Got to do this. That was my shock and awe at the end of the second episode, but we're not there yet. Talk to me.
We are not there yet. We are going to be going all spoilers in on The Last of Us. Obviously, I can't do too much because I don't want to spoil Charlie either.
Yes,
because
can't do that.
he has not played the video game Last of Us.
And the rest of us, because, I'm not saying that we will. I know that we own the disc of the first one. I know April played it for a while. I know she got stuck at one point and she was like, F this, and never went back to it. And it's very common, I'm sure, with a lot of people who dabble in video games. Yes, exactly.
Exactly, because it's a different experience, and that's where I feel like I'm glad I now get to see how it's played out in a show.
Right.
And I am curious what they'll do, because I'm like, I don't know if this was their best way to do it, but you know what? We'll see how it goes.
They did do it, yes.
Yeah, so I believe this season, I brought off the wiki, we are getting only 7 episodes this season.
Yeah, we had 9. And April and I have watched the first season. It's our favorite show. And we have watched season 1 3 times, I think, in the last 2 years.
Okay.
Because we love it that much. And one of them, we watched it, we finished it, and we were saying, we're just going to watch it again right now, because we were so sucked in by it. Just absolutely such an incredible story.
Yeah, it's interesting when I look at the credits for season 2. Craig Mazin, who did Chernobyl, he did episode 1. He directed 1. He has wrote every episode of The Last of Us. And then Neil Druckmann, who's the creator of Last of Us in video game form, comes in at the end of the season. But then we got Craig Mazin written episode 2, but Mark Mylod, who I don't know anything he did, but he's a British student. If you watch the end of the episodes, I always love their what happened. And they talk about the characters impacted.
Yeah, and it was funny because we don't normally, but we did for this one, because it was just jaws on the ground, and we're like, is something going to change? And all of a sudden, what happened will be undone. One thing that I did, because I was on the road so much more back in 2023 as opposed to who I am now, is I was subscribed to the After Show podcast. And so when this came back on, that popped back on my phone. So I've listened to both episodes, and they're about 30 minutes. And it's the names you just dropped. It's those dudes talking about the episode, and definitely gives a lot more depth. And both that today, which I listened to today because I was home today, and then the after part to the episode last night, were just like, okay, everybody take a beat, take a breath. That just happened. Take it slow, because I can't remember a time when something like that happened that I was so affected. I'm struggling for the words.
It's a lot. And if you played the video game, you knew it was coming. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't, you didn't. And unless you looked and wanted to read story beats of the game, it was kind of a surprise. And it is interesting, the Last of Us podcast, Troy Baker, who leads that, he played Joel in the video game.
Yes,
Ashley,
correct. He does.
Ashley, what's her name?
Ashley Johnson is who you're thinking of. But yeah, he tips off
Abby,
because he's the host. He says, my name is blah, 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 and I was the voice of Joel in the game. Troy Baker.
Was actually a Last of Us video game podcast as well.
Oh, okay.
And it was hosted by a person that we had on our podcast, Christian Spicer, Charlie, because he is a big fan of that, and he hosts the DLC podcast, but he also loves the series, and he hosted that podcast as well. And so it's kind of like 6 degrees of separation.
Speaking of Ashley Johnson, she sang the song that took us out of the episode last night. That was her.
Absolutely. She's in. She's also in that one show with the D&D show. I can't remember the name of the show, but it's big. It's Deus Machina. It's on. It's Amazon. It's a D&D show.
Well, so, she had the role. She had the pivotal role of Beth the waitress in 2012's The Avengers.
Yep, absolutely, and she was also the last kid on.
She was
Chrissy on. Growing Pains.
Growing Pains. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which the fact that she emerged from that unscathed, pretty good.
She is the only one, because Alan Thicke is dead. So he's really unscathed.
Joanna Kearns, I don't know what hell happened to her. And Kirk Cameron, obviously, we know what happened to him. And then Jonathan came out as, is he alive? Jonathan? No, I know he came out as gay.
That was on Who's the Boss. So now you're talking about who am I forgetting?
Shows. Oh, Ben Seaver. He probably is drunk and joined a MAGA cult.
Probably maybe? So. And then, Tracy Gold had ED disorder. Anyway, we're not talking.
Okay. Well, anyway. This is not a Growing Pains podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's get back into this. So, obviously, Last of Us Season 2 takes place after season 1.
5 years.
It's 5 years. Basically, Joel and Ellie are now living with his in the compound back in
Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
There you go. And then they basically rejoin them. Everything's going well, except that now Ellie is an insufferable teenager.
She is. Think about how obnoxious Anakin Skywalker was in episode 2, and then multiply that by about 1,000 times and put in all the effing and jeffing and all the swearing.
Oh, and she thinks she's invincible. She thinks she's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So not only does she have an invincibility complex, she also thinks that she rules the roost.
Right.
So, I wanted it many times. I'm like, yes, I know this is, I just wanted to, I didn't know what to do.
That mouth.
I'm like, I felt bad for Joel. Because, Joel's like now dealing with this and I don't know why Ellie's behavior is like this. I think in some ways, maybe Ellie knows the truth and has just never come forward because she's giving Joel some grace.
I'll tell you what, this is what I think, and whether this plays into the game or not, I'm not sure. We know that there's much like every 10 episode series that exists now, one of them is a flashback episode. And we know that because we've seen Pedro in other footage that we've not seen yet that takes place in the springtime. So they're in the forest, whatever it is. Think back to the trailer where you've seen him, and then you also see this long, painful shot of her saying, "You lied to me."
Yes.
So
yes,
she is that way with him because she does know the truth. It's obvious. It happened. If it happened the previous spring, or if it's been several years, who knows? But
so
she
we'll
knows.
get to that. Yeah. And
knows.
I can't remember in the game where that emerged. But and then she does address that in episode 2 with, some like, hey, regardless it is Ellie and Joel, he'll always be this for me and I'm this for him. And we will get through this.
We're complicated, she's saying to her friend as they're going off.
Absolutely. So episode 1, if we get into this, Charlie, essentially we fast forward, like we said, back to Jackson.
Yep.
We're kind of in a normal state. And everybody's kind of just going through the motions in a lot of ways. Joel is not happy, kind of living his life, but he's being Joel. He's going through therapy.
And let's not forget the fact that he's 60. So he's aches and pains. They worked really hard. And it was almost like I could definitely feel like watching that first episode, they were teeing up something where he would take on a diminished role. He was not going to be John Rambo like he was in that last episode because he looks really worn out. He's fixing a whatever, wearing his glasses, and he looks like he's in pretty rough shape. Now, one thing you left out is that before we had this great big time jump, we did jump into what essentially after the last episode of the season, where there are 5 people standing around having a memorial to all the people that Joel killed in rapid session in Salt Lake City at the end of the last season. One of them, as we find out, is the daughter of the doctor who was going to perform the procedure. And it was interesting because when the final showdown happened, she says, "You shot an unarmed doctor." I'm like, he was walking at Joel with a scalpel like he was going to cut him. What else was Joel supposed to do but shoot him in the head?
Although he got a scalpel and Joel's got a gun. I mean,
right.
Joel could have sucker punched him.
Or
it's a doctor.
He could have shot him in the leg. But yeah, probably
like
didn't.
They did with Joel because they were kind and kind people.
Kind people when they get shot in the leg with shotgun. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I got a feeling, the first episode was kind of, they stole, and maybe this came from the game, maybe it didn't, but they absolutely lifted we're going through a grocery store. That came from an episode of The Walking Dead where somebody fell through the roof and walking around and one of them's chasing. So it's like, I'm like, okay, well, I was saying to myself, well, maybe we're just getting off to a slow start and things will pick up. But the first episode wasn't like a lot of whiz bang moments that really made me feel this was original or different. So I thought, as opposed to the beginning of the series with that first episode, which was like, oh my God, all this stuff and the world's coming to an end and there's a plane crashing in the middle of the street and all this different shit going on. So I was somewhat dubious at the end of watching that first episode, but my God, by the time we got into swing, it was the calm before the storm, a literal storm that went all the way through because they're in the dead of winter. They're in Wyoming, in the mountains. It's like Yellowstone up there. It's bad. it's really, really bad. And so anyway, so I was somewhat skeptical watching episode 1. I'm like, well, is this going to pick up, or are they going into a sophomore slump? Is it not really going to deliver? But holy cow.
It is a lot. And this is where it is interesting, because you do kind of focus on episode 1 all about Ellie, her place in Jackson, what she's gone through and where she's going to be. Kind of like she feels herself as kind of a invulnerable person. She is a leader, and she gets to say things others don't, because she feels like she's gone through things others haven't, and she has a secret she can't tell anybody, but she feels cocky. So that's where she is in a spot that it feels very awkward for her, but she's trying to find her space. And that is where you get the relationship between Dina and herself, which leads to a very flirtatious. We don't know where this is going to go. We already know that Ellie has, expressed feelings for another girl, and that didn't end well. So maybe she's hesitant to come forward. Like, hey, would anybody love me? Because anytime I've loved someone, they've died, and it's happened multiple times.
Little big deal. Yeah.
So we do get more of that relationship with Dina, and then we do get a huge blowout in a very much a teen event. That, I don't want to go too much into, but it's a very touching event where Ellie is basically then find out that there's someone that she likes, and they have a very heart-touching moment, which ends horribly because there's a guy who calls it out, which does happen in the game, which is all about, like, he's saying, hey, don't want that, blah, blah, blah. And Joel comes to the rescue. And of course, like a lot of kids, when your parents do something that embarrass you, now you put the focus on them and being a jerk.
Yeah. They made the very good point about the guy and the slur that he uses. He says, think about if all social progress that we know of ended at 2003. And so attitudes that existed back then would be even more hardened by the fact that, everybody's bitter and life sucks and everybody's traumatized. So most people are just going to be nasty. Older people are going to be even meaner. So,
there's no canceling online. You're just canceled in person. And although you think like, well, where the world is at currently, is that stuff really even matter anymore? So it becomes like this and that, and it's like, although you'd be like, well, you should be having babies because we ain't got enough babies. And are you going to have some babies? Yeah, comes down to babies, Charlie.
I guess not. Oh yeah, well, apparently that's the current line. But anyway.
Yeah. I did want to hit on like to your one point though, when they were doing they're going on patrols, it's part of their life. Ellie is doing the thing. When they did go on the one patrol, this is where I get so frustrated with Ellie, because she does feel like she's bulletproof, and she puts people at needless risk
because she can't get hurt. And getting attacked. I mean, she can still, get shot or break a leg or something. But
people could sacrifice themselves for her because of her recklessness, which is just frustrating to me.
Right.
And we do find out that the infected, the clickers, whatever you want to call them, are evolving. They're getting more dangerous.
They're mutating. And there's that whole the reason what leads us into episode 2 and the siege that happens is that as they're going through and doing work restoring stuff, they're cracking open an old clay pipe, which is all filled with growth. Well, some of that growth is live cordyceps, and as we learned back in season 1,
it's a communication network.
Right, exactly. If you step on it, it's like piano wires, you know what I mean? So it'll vibrate down the way. And like you said, speaking of evolving, apparently these clickers, they're still a biological organism to the point that they can be frozen. So they start using other clickers as insulation, and they hibernate. And they get activated by steps on the ground and also the cordyceps being triggered within Jackson Hole. So that's what leads us into the massive sequence of attack that happens in season 2, where Jackson. Now that did not come from the game. No, it's Jackson Hole, Wyoming, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's just funny. That leads us to Jackson Hole. It's like, we're in a Jackson Hole.
We're in a Jackson Hole. Help me. Yeah. But that was not from the game in that way, right? That was a little bit more of a deviation.
So, yes, in the game, you did not have the tack on Jackson. Okay. You had primarily Joel was going out on a patrol and Ellie was going too. And then you had Joel ending up with Abby and then running into each other. He was helping Abby get back. And that's where there was no like, I got to get back because everything's on fire. It was just, it led that way. And then Ellie was notified that, Joel's missing and we need to go rescue Joel and Dina are missing. And that's where it's there. So it seems like there was lesser stakes in the game at that point. It was really focused on that story point. But in this one, you had the dichotomy of, we had our team that we love is at risk. And then the whole compound, which we just got to know, is at risk.
Right,
it's
exactly.
Like, what's going to happen?
Everybody.
Yeah. So
one of the 5 bad guy gang was Danny Ramirez from the MCU, the Falcon. So we had an MCU hero as a flipped bad guy. Is terrible, but yeah, you're right. So there's all these moving parts. Like you said, Joel is out on patrol with Dina. They end up coming upon this Abby who was stalking him because she's the one who wants to kill him. And that's what she's been thinking about for 5 years. And she falls down a mountainside and she awakens all these infected, these clickers, and they're chasing her and run
almost like hibernating underneath.
Yeah, exactly.
Piles.
Yeah, exactly. So like I was saying, but yeah, they still need warmth. So they absorb that from having like a canopy underneath, but they're chasing her. It's a huge mass. They get into a situation where Joel, who she doesn't know, rescues her from falling. But he rescues this person who's there to kill him. And she leads them back to, Abby leads them back to the hidey hole where her friends are waiting. And then they sabotage them. They knock Dina out with some drugs. They said, we're not going to kill her, but this is going to knock her out. And you're there in a situation that you see in every TV show ever where it's like, oh, the odds are terrible, but at the last minute, somebody's going to be standing over him with a knife and then a gunshot will happen and he'll be fine. Well, what happens instead?
Oh my God, it's crazy. Oh my God, Charlie. And I was looking at the back in the walkthrough of the game. There was the horde broke through, but it was tied to where Joel and Dina were. Right. They didn't go down that path. So they did include a horde, and that's where Joel rescued Abby, and they went back to the chalet. But in this instance, man, oh man, the fact that you get this new bloater that's involved, and it kind of made me think of like Game of Thrones, because like they're doing everything they can. They've got like oil, they've got gas. They shoot these things down to blow them up. Hit bullet points through the gas barrels to then explode them, and it's amazing. But then you do have these facilities. It's not concrete; it's a lot of like wood, so it can be barrage. But man, you see these screamers or these clickers just run into things. They squish each other, and then you get this bloater who's there, who just decides he's gonna go right through the wall. And they've got a game plan, and you feel for these people because they do have a lot of artillery, but they also have a lot of women, children, and infants, and as much as they can prepare for it.
Yeah, they don't have a tank and a howitzer and 50 caliber machine guns.
They've got some trucks. Yeah, they've got some flamethrowers, but they don't have that type of artillery to take on that type of attack. But you do like that they've survived other attacks, so they do know some tactics to do. Basically, get off the streets, go up, go down, but do not be there, and even that can go astray. And then I tell you, man, I really love Tommy. His leadership, taking on that bloater last minute, doing what he can, and you do see basically how they survive this thing, and releasing the dogs is kind of like the turning point, right?
I like that.
And that was amazing.
The hounds, Mr.
And I'm like, don't kill those dogs. Don't let those dogs get infected. But they're going ham because they don't care. They're just going in there, and the guys can't offend them.
Yeah, it's in I Am Legend that the dogs can get infected, but I guess not here. So that's a good thing.
Well, I think creatures can get infected, but I think the fact that they're on offense, they're not going to get attacked by these creatures. They're just going to go after the necks and kill them.
And they did, quite well.
And that bloater, man, he was scary, but took him down.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was like that last punch. Like it was Indiana Jones fighting the mechanic guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he is like one last punch, and that was enough. No, I was thinking of when Indy was fighting the Russian in the ant pile. Remember, and it was like one last punch, and then he fell backwards. Yeah, that was.
Well, you do think though that fungus would not be highly effective in a frozen environment, but maybe it's that they get out into some type of temperature that they can activate. But I always thought fungus needs like high humidity and things like that. But the fact that it still exists.
You would also think the flamethrower would be the most effective, because that's how they clear, brush with fire and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you would think that would make it more. But yeah, so we start to wrap things up. Like I said, we're back at the chalet, and this Abby has just beaten Joel to a bloody pulp. The first thing she did was shoot him in the leg with a shotgun and have her associate tourniquet it so that he wouldn't bleed out, so that she could
because she's going to make it go on.
She takes wood, and again, I'm not an avid golfer, but was that a 5-wood or that was 5-iron, wasn't it? That she was smacking.
I thought it was a driver, but I'd have to go back.
No,
yeah, I didn't pay that close attention to it.
No, if it was a driver, that would have been open over a whole lot faster because of the big head. But an iron is a little skinny one. But he's she got to the point where she broke the shaft, and she's just whopping him, and that's when Ellie finally shows up, and you're like, I'm thinking all the cliches. She's got her gun, she's gonna get the drop on him, and she'll turn things around. Well, she doesn't. They take her down immediately. They start beating the shit out of her, and her face is down on the ground, and Joel has one eye open left, and you can see the life oozing out of him, and the main guy, so I don't know if they're in a relationship or if he's sweet on her or whatever, but he
feels like they're confidant, very close confidants.
So she's like, he says to her, just finish this, and she takes the shaft of this shattered club and just jams it into his neck. He's dead. And April and I were just, I can't believe they actually did it. This character who through life and limb, and you think he's Rambo plus, Rick from The Walking Dead, and he's every indestructible. He's Jack Reacher. He's Jack Bauer. He's indestructible. And nope, he's old and he's dead with a golf club sticking out of his jugular. He's gone. And Ellie is just, and they leave. First of all, then she starts screaming, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you to Abby. And instead of what the smart thing for them to do would probably have been to grease her, but they just walk away. So she then, drags herself over to Joel and is just laying against, his dead body and crying. And
well, I mean, and then you have the after effects of Dina was drugged. At first, you thought they might kill her, and they didn't. Well, thankfully,
right.
And yeah, the people leave. They got their revenge. They did what they said they were going to do, and they left. They didn't do anything else. So I'm like, in that instance, okay, I guess they eye for an eye, even though it was an eye for an eye because Joel killed 16 of them or 18 of them,
right? And
they took him out. But then you get Ellie now, who has no context to this. We will find out though that obviously she knows a little bit more about this in the future, but she doesn't really care.
Yeah.
She doesn't care. She doesn't know. She doesn't care if anybody else dies along the way, but she is going to protect her vengeance because this is her world.
Yep.
And that is the end. And in the game, Charlie, it's just kind of like, this reminds me of like Misery, the book versus the movie. So in the book, they don't take a sledgehammer to his feet. They take a axe to his feet. So he loses his feet. They don't just hobble him where they break his legs in his feet. In this instance, they don't stab him in the neck. They take a driver to the head of Joel to finish him off. So that's where the joke about Joel going out for golfing and I hope he doesn't use a driver. So that is a joke that's tongue in cheek. But when the leaks of the video game story came out, people were by themselves because they didn't get the whole story. They just said Joel's going to die early.
Yeah,
people were pissed off because well, how can this be a story if it is? And then also the part of Ellie being LGBTQ obviously set the world on fire too. It's like,
people can't handle it. Yeah, exactly.
But there was this story element with Ellie in the last game, which was set out as a extra content, which we saw in season 1, where Ellie, her girlfriend in the first, season, died when they were checking out the arcade. So that was already there, but it just felt like people just like, well, I thought that was just a phase she was going through. No, it's not. Sorry.
Doesn't really work that way.
So where we're headed, Charlie, you obviously are not sure where this is going. You should not look where this is going because
no interest in doing that. No interest in doing that.
Know where this is headed. And this is where I said this movie, this TV series.
I mean, it is a movie. It is the whole sequel. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So you can break this up because I will just say that the ongoing dynamic will be Ellie and Abby. That is going to be the dynamic you will see going forward. It will propel this series to the bitter end. Unless there is more added to this and it goes beyond just the story. But Ellie and Abby become a huge part of this, and some people are huge fans of Abby. Some people are huge fans of Ellie, and then you get those fandoms. There is another controversy with Caitlin Dever playing Abby, where Caitlin Dever is not like just huge and bulky. In the game,
she's
they show her to be like
she's like the She-Hulk is what you're saying. Yeah, basically
exactly, because they basically said she decided to be prepared physically when this altercation was going to go down. But yeah, and it is interesting because Tommy gets to become a huge part of this story, which is great because he's an amazing character, his wife. And I will see, it is interesting because we did not get the takedown of Jackson Hole in the game. Yeah. So because of that, I am curious to see where that part of the story goes. So it's going to be really interesting. I am very happy. In some ways I'm like, they put almost too much into this episode. Yeah. But it seems like people that aren't aware of it are very happy with it. Maybe? I don't know.
I would say so. I mean, and again, any type of entertainment that really sticks and it really is lasting has an impact because it does something exceptional, or it does something unexpected, or something that tugs at the heartstrings, whether you're crying or laughing or whatever it is. So this really did deliver. This was one of the really genuine surprises I feel like I've seen in a long time in almost any show, because it defied any kind of trope, any kind of action trope, which even this show has done. Like, oh, somebody got saved at the last minute. You know what I mean? So I'm invested. So if you're not watching the show, sorry if you've listened to this, but just so you're in the know, this is on Sundays, 9 p.m. Eastern on Max. The first season was 9 episodes. It's an easy watch. You'll want to go back and watch it several times. But yeah, as Todd said, skip the game until this is over. I will be. And then, maybe, this time, 3 or 4 months from now, maybe I'll go grab a copy of the game at GameStop. Well, GameStop is still around, by the way.
Well, the hard part is if this is going to be 2 seasons, you have to wait till season 3 is done before you can watch it. Unless I say, Charlie, you asked me, like, can I watch some of it? I'm like, yeah, watch the first hour of the cutscenes.
That's it.
You're okay.
Then you're over.
That's all. You may have to ask me what is safe to watch.
I'll be fine waiting 3 to 5 years. But anyway, tune in. But that's the show.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for joining in. My goodness, it's been quite an adventure. Todd, where do people find you out there?
They find me on the threads at Toxtra, at Secret Friends Unite, on the Blue Sky, at Todd Oxtra, at Secret Friends Unite, at our Discord, and also Secret Friends Unite, or patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite.
Oh, Mr. Blue Sky. I am at those same 3 threads, Blue Sky, and Instagram as at the C3, TheCeeThree. I also spend a heck of a lot of time at our Secret Friends Unite Discord, because that is where all the fun and geeky chats are going. You can find us there. You can ask us questions about the show, and we will potentially address them, read them on the show. Don't forget, we also have secretfriendsunite@gmail.com. If you'd like to write letters, write us there. We would love to answer your questions or get your comments that way. And again, patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. 7 days for free, 50% off your first month, and stay on board for as little as $2. It's a hell of a deal. But with that, thank you again for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
The truth is out there.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.